In this video, I'm going to talk about the top 5 lessons that I've learned from approaching over 10,000 women. Now, that number is a guess. I don't keep track of literally every girl I approach to get to, that 10,000 number, but I would estimate I've approached about that many women, maybe a lot more, maybe a few thousand less, but thousands and thousands of women. And from having done that, I have learned a lot of lessons about dating, about sex, about what women want, about what makes you happy that I think will be useful for people who are, let's say they're dabbling with the idea of learning game, they're dabbling with the idea of, oh, what is this whole pickup thing, or the red pill, or all that kind of crap. They've dabbled with it, but they haven't put in those hours, they haven't put in the approaches yet, and these are some of the top lessons that I learned, and I'm going to give them to you so that you don't have to learn them through the many failures that I learned them through, so that you can fail less. You're still going to have to fail a lot. You're still going to have a lot of awkward experiences if you want to get good at picking up girls. That's the reality, but I want to help reduce the amount of failures, the amount of awkward moments, the amount of time wasted on doing the same thing, making the same mistake again and again. And the first one, this is not on the list of the top 5, but it is important. Getting laid, it's not gonna make you happy, right? Not in the sense that it's gonna, like, now that I have this, I've arrived. Because that's what I used to think. And that's what I think we all think when it comes to our fitness goals, our money goals, getting a girlfriend, getting a really hot girl, getting a really charismatic, or whatever it is you think you want. Once you get that, it does not make you happy. It does not fill the void in your soul and fix all your problems. It makes you less miserable, it makes you happier, but it's not this solution, this grand solution that changes everything. Even if you get with a girl who, like, oh my God, she looks like a supermodel. I've done that. It got my ego like really excited. It was like a really powerful drug hit for, let's say, a few hours or a few days, sure. But did it fix my problems? No. Does getting laid more fix all my problems? No. It makes life more exciting. It makes life more fun. And it does reduce this source of stress of feeling like, oh, well, I can't get girls. That's a source of stress that it kind of reduces or even can eliminate. But it's not going to fix all your problems. That's the first thing. Yes, it can make your life better, but really, you got to have realistic expectations. If you think, oh, this is going to fix my life. Look, being a millionaire isn't going to fix your life either. It makes things better. Yeah, of course. But it won't fix that deep hole inside. That is deeper than just getting laid or even having a deep, intimate relationship, even having like a really good relationship. That's not going to solve that. That is more about your self-esteem on a level that just getting laid doesn't solve. And also, the best part of pickup is not the getting laid part. Getting laid, obviously, sex can be extremely fun. It can be a very memorable experience. But the best experiences I've had from going out and picking up women have almost universally been nights when I just feel free. I just feel out of my own way. I feel completely in the zone, in the more like nerd video game technology or terminology, God mode, being in God mode. I'm getting to the point where I just don't care what people think of me. I feel completely free, and I'm able to express myself without any expectation. That is actually, in many cases, more fun than sex with a girl who looks like a model, right? So that's one thing to keep in mind. The highlight of game is not just getting laid, right? That's part of it. And if you're not focusing on that at all, you're probably kind of, making excuses. But that's not the highlight. That's not the peak experience. It's actually just being out and being just completely free, being at your most charismatic, being at your most expressive, and just having a great time. So that's the first point, and I took down notes so I can keep things structured. So the first lesson from approaching 10,000 women is that women can find me attractive. Now, this might be surprising because I don't consider myself a bad looking guy. People don't think, oh, that guy looks like so disgusting he couldn't get laid. That's never been my problem. But I believed on a deeper level, on an emotional level, I was just fundamentally unattracted to women. I believed I was more of a little boy than a man. I believed no girl could be attracted to me sexually. And that's what my high school experiences taught me. I didn't even kiss a girl in high school. I went on one date and the girl was not even someone I was attracted to be honest. And she rejected me. So that was my experience when I was younger. Let me make sure. Okay, we're good. that was my experience when I was younger, and going out when I was 21, going out to bars and clubs, approaching a lot of women, even though my game was terrible. It was awkward. I got rejected. I had so many cringy experiences. I like, me and my friend, would get kicked out of bars for just being so awkward. Like, we didn't even do anything that broke a rule. It's just like being awkward that they didn't want us there, right? That's how bad I was at first. Despite that, some of the girls I approached, despite my awful technique, my energy not being good, me being insecure, etc., some girls liked me. And I saw that. I was like, wait, she seems like she might actually be flirting with me, and she's hot. I don't know what's wrong with her, but there's a chance for me, right? That was the first epiphany, is that some women do find me attractive. And when you start doing approaches, that is something you really want to latch onto. Hey, that girl was flirting. That girl asked for my number. That girl was laughing at everything I said. Really latch onto that and let that propel you forward. That's very important, and that's going to help you a lot. Because what most guys do when they start is they think, well, I'm not getting laid, so I'm failing, right? I didn't get a girlfriend yet. I'm getting flaked. Don't focus so much on the negative. Focus on every little win that you're getting, even if it's a very small win. Really hone in on that and like appreciate that. And I was able to do that, even though it was cringy, I sucked, most girls rejected me. Those little wins where a girl seemed to like me or she gave me her number or whatever, that really gave me a lot of confidence, and I was able to build on that. And if you're thinking, well, maybe for you, you know, being a relatively decent looking guy, maybe that's the case. But for me, I approached tons of girls and none would like me. I've actually learned through coaching. I do boot camps where I coach people in person and I take them to approach women and I watch the reactions they get and I give them feedback. I have found that the better looking guys do not tend to get better reactions than the unattractive guys by a significant margin. A lot of my clients who struggle the most are the ones that have like the physique of a Marvel hero, are over 6 feet tall, and look almost like a male model. A lot of those guys actually get more negative reactions than the below average looking guys. And I'm not saying looks don't play a factor. I think they do. I think they are a relevant factor, of course. But I expected when coaching, maybe the guys that are really not good looking, it's just not going to be possible, right? There's no way I can help them. Every girl's going to reject them. I was worried about that. I was afraid that that might happen. That's not what happened. Like, absolutely, I've not seen a single guy who I took out to do 20, 30 approaches or more who didn't at least get a number of girls who were interested in him, who were clearly attracted and who were open to something happening if he knew how to move it forward, right? If he didn't shoot himself in the foot, which he often would, because his beliefs that he's not attractive. And I've seen that with any disadvantage you could think a guy might have. I've seen that. So short, bald, whatever race, whatever big nose, whatever different things you might think. I've seen it again and again and again and again. These men are able to get a lot of women attracted to them, even when they're new to game, even when their technique is sloppy, even when they're nervous. Still, some of the girls you approach are going to like you. That's the first epiphany. Like, if you do a lot of approaches, no matter who you are, some of the girls are going to like you. And if you are able to move it forward, you're going to start getting results. They're not going to be like, oh, wow, this guy's James Bond kind of results. But they will lead to dates. They will lead to getting laid or whatever it is. It will lead to that because some of the girls are going to like you. That is simply going to happen. And people who don't like, oh, no, but I'm the exception. 99% of those guys have approached less than 20 women in their entire lives. So they have no sample size. They have no idea. They're just making excuses. They're just latching on to this idea of learned helplessness because they want to feel like a victim, because if they have to approach women, that's uncomfortable. That's awkward. That's out of your comfort zone. Telling yourself, oh, it's impossible for me is a way out of that. Right? It's a way to say, oh, I don't have to get out of my comfort zone. That's almost always what it is. And then the few exceptions where a guy does approach a lot of women and he gets like blown out by every girl he approaches, he never gets good reactions, they're doing something like just really socially dumb, right? And they're not learning from it. They're not paying attention. Like, I knew a guy in Vegas who had approached 20 girls a night, and he told me, I only got laid 3 times, which still, hey, 3's better than a lot of guys, but I only got laid 3 times in like 6 months. And I watched him approach. The girls couldn't hear him. Like, he was talking so quick. They're like, hello. that's what he was talking like. They couldn't hear him. He didn't even get their attention. So of course he was getting rejected. So unless you're making some like really blatant mistake where you're making every girl uncomfortable because they don't notice you, or you're just doing something like really creepy or awkward, then a good percentage of the girls you approach are going to be attracted. Even if it's 10, 20, whatever percent, it's enough that you can make something out of that. So that's the first major epiphany I got from approaching 10,000 women. And I'm going through these in chronological order, by the way. The second one is that it's okay to make your intentions clear, and that in many cases that's the best way to go about it when it comes to dating. So I was very afraid of being creepy by telling a girl I found her attractive. Like, we're all shamed about that, and in some ways it's actually necessary. Like, you don't want to be a creep, right? You don't want to be overly sexual in a way that makes women uncomfortable. That is a thing. But I thought just any time if I'm being openly flirtatious, telling a girl she's cute, making my intentions clear, that would make her uncomfortable and that she wouldn't like that, and that's always a bad thing. I don't know where that came from. My parents didn't explicitly tell me that. I wasn't super religious, like in terms of my background. It was just the movies, the TV shows. It was something about the culture that I was raised in gave me that belief. Somewhere I got that belief. And I think a lot of guys can relate to that. And yes, it is possible to show your intentions in a way that does make girls uncomfortable. If you're not willing to take a step back when they're not interested, you're not willing to go like, okay, well, she's not interested, so I'm not going to keep pushing. But in many cases, women react so well when you show your intentions. The first year I did pickup, when I went to the bars and clubs, I did mystery method game, which was very popular back in the day. I'm sure you've heard of it if you know a lot about the whole game and seduction community. That's where it started. And so I would do indirect openers. Who lies more, men or women? I would hide my intentions and try to not make it seem like I'm flirting. That was my whole goal. That was my whole method. That was what I went about. And that's what I did. And it got me a lot of reactions, a lot of interactions that were neutral but went nowhere. They just died out. They petered out. I would talk to a girl 45 minutes. She's like, well, this isn't going anywhere, so I'm bored. Bye. Like, it was nice meeting you. I would get a hearty, it was nice meeting you every night, all the time. And so many girls that were interested in me because I was afraid of showing my intentions. I had one girl who gave me a full body massage in my bed, and even in massaging more erogenous zones, if you will. That's the most I can say on YouTube. And I thought, in my mind, unless she kisses me, she's not into me. So if she kisses me, then I'll make the move. I'll escalate. But if she doesn't do that, she's probably not interested. That's the level I was thinking at. And when I started showing my intentions, just telling a girl, like, you're really beautiful, you're really attractive, being vulnerable, being willing to be rejected, putting my ego on the line. Once I started doing that, the reactions I got were far, far better. Because I was afraid of that. A lot of guys are afraid of that. They're anxious about that. They don't want to get in awkward situations. But when you put yourself out there and you make a move, a lot of girls are going to respond super well. And that's what I learned. Like, holy shit, putting your intentions out there is much more effective than hiding your intentions if you're afraid of that. So to make it clear, like, once you're really confident in yourself, you know how to make a move, you know how to make things flirtatious, and you're like comfortable with doing that, then you can get away with being indirect. You can get away with something more like the mystery method. But until you're comfortable making your intentions clear, until you're no longer afraid of that, until you're like, look, I'm okay with being rejected. I'm gonna let her know I'm into her. If she doesn't like it, whatever, but I'm gonna try. Until you're able to do that consistently, until you're comfortable with putting yourself out there in that way, then it's going to be disadvantageous to go too indirect. It's gonna help you by going direct. You're gonna get a lot of girls openly flirting with you, responding on that same wavelength, and your results are going to be far, far better.